Yesterday marked the first 100 days in office for President Trump. The past 3+ months have been nothing if not consequential. For an overview of where we've been and where we're going, we welcome Jason Barraza, a partner at Veritas, and Wes Gullett. He is with Nexus. Good to have you both here. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jason, we're going to start with you since you're on the other side of the aisle here. 100 days, Trump presidency, thoughts?
It has been one of the most consequential changes in American policy and American direction that we've probably seen in 50, 75, 100 years. This is monumental, and we don't even know the breadth of what is changing in America right now. We're only seeing the start of it. But it has been monumental and represents a new course for America.
Just general thoughts, Wes, and we'll take it from there.
Well, you know, when I was here before the election, I said, let's not go to the chaos of the past. We've got the chaos of the future now. And it's even more chaotic than it was before. So I wish people chose for this chaos. So this is what we've got.
Wes, I've read that he has changed America, at least how America is perceived around the world, more than any president since FDR. True?
Oh, 100%. There's no question that America has changed. We all are thinking about it when we're thinking about where we're going to go on vacation this summer, because we're going to stay here in the United States because we don't know what other people are thinking about us. But you know, when I was a kid, we were taught the golden rule. And the golden rule was treat others like you want to be treated yourself. And I think that Donald Trump was absent that day because this is just crazy town.
Well, and Jason, executive orders, we've had almost as many in 3 months as the former president had in 4 years. I thought executive orders were like bad because, you know, Congress didn't like them. Now you got a Congress that says bring it on.
Well, they're bad when you have a government system that's based on 3 equal parts. But when you have someone leading one of those parts that thinks that they are the end all and the decision maker regarding every little thing in America, well, that's the way business is done. This is what the Trump administration, second Trump administration, is all about. His sole rule of America.
You agree with that?
Well, I think President Trump is acting as quickly as possible. He made a lot of promises during the campaign, and he's trying to act on those. The best way to act on those is executive orders. Now, they all have to figure out through the courts because some of them are in violation of U.S. federal law that the Congress passed and the president signed. So we're going to see how that all works out in the courts, but there's been a lot going on, yeah.
As far as immigration crackdown, kept campaign promises there, did he not?
It certainly was a campaign promise. I don't know if America really understood exactly what he meant. I don't think that they understood that he meant throwing out birthright citizenship, changing the way that America has done things for years, and or throwing out due process and essentially picking up people off the street and deciding who can stay and who can't.
Deportations, though, have they increased so far?
I don't know if they've increased specifically, but certainly how we go about doing that has significantly changed.
The perception of the process of deportations, Wes, that obviously has changed.
Yeah, and you can see it. You have a sense that people are nervous. I talk to people all the time who are nervous about going to work. And you know, they might be joking, but down deep. I mean, my daughter was born in Bangladesh, and she called me up and said, am I going to be deported? She's a naturalized U.S. citizen.
Yeah. Wes, sticking with you, tariff policies, they seem to be, correct me if I'm wrong, turning the world upside down.
Well, the thing that I find unusual is, one, he didn't tell us, give us the backstory. And the backstory with Europe, you know, you can see how those might work out. But Canada is like our brother. They're like our younger brother, and we are treating them like they're enemies. And I don't understand that one.
Why are we turning allies into opponents? I mean, it almost seems as though the president wants to do. He would love to do this, and meanwhile, Vladimir Putin is still getting away with bombing Kyiv.
Yeah, the answer to that question lies inside the president's head, and I'm not going to venture that far into that quagmire. But exactly what these tariffs are meaning to the world, we talk about our perception amongst our allies. We're attacking our allies economically by putting these tariffs in place, and we're not doing nothing but hurting Americans who put him in office to help lessen the strain on their pocketbooks. And his first actions were to increase that strain. That's not what America wanted.
If the tariffs, though, work in terms of getting better trade deals, different trade deals, maybe individually or in some sort of group fashion, is it all worth it?
He has said, just give it time, right? Let's wait. Tell that to the people who are working 2-3 jobs, that are struggling to put food on the table, that are worried about whether or not their job is going to pay for the things that they need. They don't have time to wait. They can't ride this out. They don't have the trust fund that's sitting there that can pay for things like everybody in the president's world does.
With that in mind, is there a shelf life here for especially tariffs and economic concerns?
Well, I think that even if the tariffs do bring people to the table, they bring them to the table mad. And that's not really how we treat our allies. And these are our allies: Japan, South Korea, Europe, Canada, Mexico. They're our friends, and now they're coming to the table, but they're being drugged to the table with a stick to their head.
And as far as America is concerned, it sounds as though we had a relatively booming economy. Obviously, inflation was a big deal, but the economy itself, GDP, the whole rest of the thing, it was going along, humming along pretty, and it's not humming along pretty well right now.
But there's so much uncertainty.
And is that the bottom line, the uncertainty?
Yeah, it's the uncertainty, and that's the chaos, the uncertainty, the chaos, and that's what. And if you're a business person today, are you going to make a major investment? No, you're going to wait and see. Well, that timeline then slows down the economy. That's what you're seeing in those numbers for the first quarter. It's the uncertainty has caused this slowdown, and that's why we've had negative growth.
You agree with that?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Business thrives on predictability, and the tariffs, who's they're going to apply to, how much is going to be applied, that has been up in the air and has been impossible to get a handle on.
Dismantling the federal government with Elon Musk's group at the helm here, the impact now, the impact in the future.
Well, we don't know what the impact is in the future because I don't think we fully understand what doing away with some of these organizations really fully means. USAID, for example, what they have been bringing to the world, that is far beyond what I think has been characterized as charity. This is about holding other countries, other nations at bay. Thought process. This was brought about to stop communism and socialism spreading across America, and now we're just doing away with it and hoping for the best.
Isn't this West Republican? Isn't this what Republicans have always wanted? A smaller, more, I don't know how we used to say, quicker, faster federal government, get rid of all this bloat and all this waste. Is he not doing what Republicans have always wanted?
I'm not a fan of Donald Trump, but I do like some of this stuff. But I'll tell you what, it is dangerous for us to eliminate things that we have global leadership in. So when you blanket cut grant funding for institutions like ASU and research, which is what we lead the world in, and ideas and technology, that's dangerous. That's dangerous.
Last question, bottom line. Wes, we'll stick with you, and then we'll go with you, Jason. Are we a better country? Are we in better shape than we were 100 days ago?
Oh, no. No. We're in a conflict with our brothers to the north on our continent. That is a problem.
I guess if the guy leaning right says we're not better, I'm guessing the guy leaning left says
our economy is in question. The nation does not hold us in the same, or the world does not hold us in the same standing as they used to. No, we're not in a better place today.
Here's my last question. 1,300 more days of this. Can we handle it?
We'll see. We'll see what the midterms bring.
This is a resilient country. We have fundamental protections. It's going to be very interesting to see how this all works out and where the Supreme Court ends on a lot of these questions. And we'll see if the rule of law is more important than the rule of personality.
Wes Gullett, Jason Barraza, gentlemen, always a pleasure. Good to have you both here. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.